There we have it. Very good evening, everyone. Charles here, Frgnt Daily Chart Analysis and Frgnt Fun Coupon Friday. Where do we begin? From the top. Well, what did we say this morning? Let's start from the top. So this morning, I actually provided a video 11 hours ago just because I was quite intrigued about the technicals, to be fair. Nevertheless, let's start from here, 12 hours ago. So that was updated, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, here we have it. 12 hours ago, that's what we had. The DXY forecasting, perhaps, maybe the DXY would give us that push that would be required in order for us to take those, in my opinion, better looking trades, i.e. GU shorts, EU shorts, AU potential shorts, and also there was a wild card that I threw into the mix today, which 10 hours ago, that was the potential for US dollar CAD shorts as well. Now, let's take a look to see how the day panned out. So we'll start from the DXY, of course. The movement on the DXY, the push on the DXY, there were two areas that I was forecasting a move from. It's unfortunate this area here, as a result of that push, did indeed entice me into, I believe, AU shorts, which I'll go over in a moment, a little bit too early. That's okay, that happens from time to time. And then, of course, price came to the ultimate area and we had that push. So let's take a look at it and we can discuss it. So the first trade of the day, that was US dollar CAD shorts, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this order block up at the highs, most certainly that was the order block that I would have loved price to come to. We can see here on that 4-hour time frame, it aligns beautifully with that 4-hour 50 EMA. And just in terms of basic price action and structures, lower low, lower high, lower low, price come back in for the lower high, for the lower low continuation. With that said, I have no idea whether price is going to respect my thought process. So on this, what I did was go to the 15-minute time frame. And I used a beautiful strategy of which I call the Asia range strategy. Now, there was a clear area that, or what I should say, is a clear reason in which I could lose this particular trade. And the reason behind that is that perhaps price would revert to the higher time frame directional order block, i.e. the 4-hour order block, refined within that perfectly towards the equilibrium is that 15-minute order block. So, of course, I understood that I had a reason to lose. Now, if I just look at the 15-minute time frame as is, I can see an area in the market was broken. So here is the break of structure if I'll highlight. The most recent low. Price came back up after that low, created the lower high, and then it's my job to understand, upon this leg that created the low, can I identify a 15-minute order block that I can accredit to actually creating that break of structure? Now, as you can see, a slight risky trade because I can't wholeheartedly say that this 15-minute order block is the reason why price broke down. But what I did have was an order block up at the highs, which would allow me to take a slightly different trade. So therefore, on US dollar CAD, I split my risk and I said, well, if I'm wrong here, so be it. Let's allow price potentially then to come back up to the highs and I'll take the higher time frame directional trade. Thankfully, or I should say happily, price played out pretty much to perfection. I didn't hold this down to the lows. It was simply an Asia range trade. I recognize that if I am going to take this in line with my Asia range strategy, then indeed my take profit must also align, with the Asia range strategy. And that's take the trade from the highs of Asia, and my job is to fill Asia. So 2.5% taken out of the market there. Job well done. So potentially I should have called it a day, to be honest. But the reason why I didn't is actually US dollar CAD, it really wasn't on my radar. And I would much prefer to take trades that I forecast a little bit more in advance and I align with it. How can I put it? Align with it even more so over the higher time frames, because an Asia range trade to me, those in a dedicated group will understand an Asia range requires no higher time frame analysis whatsoever. It's just 15-minute and 1 minute. Can you identify a break of structure? Can you refine that 15-minute down and take the trade if the Asia range is available? Sorry if you heard the noise. Central Milan is very loud at this time. Nevertheless, we're getting straight to it. So US dollar CAD, 2.5% taken out of the market. I continue to trade. Potentially I shouldn't have, but as I said, I'd much prefer to take a position that I align with more so over the higher time frames and actually lose that position than just be satisfied on an Asia range position that, to be honest, isn't really aligning with what I was looking to do today. So that's that. US dollar CAD, 2.5% banked. Now, let's go to where I figured out, oh no, it could potentially be one of those days. Now, where are we? AUD, US dollar. I absolutely jumped the gun, and it's unfortunate, right? But it is what it is, unfortunately. Higher time frame, potential reversal trade, but it's a trade that I was looking at least for 2 weeks. I can't say it enough. I can see AU in my dreams now, as a result of this bearish engulfing candle on that weekly time frame. It's just so very simple. Expecting that low, of which is created, to then pull back up into an area of imbalance before then creating that lower low continuation. Absolute textbook. Pretty annoyed at myself, to be honest, but it's a good reminder that I am not invincible in these markets, and I can be humbled from time to time. So that's an L, unfortunately, and even looking at it now, it's very frustrating. But there are certainly reasons why I look to have taken that trade. Again, much like the Asia range criteria. But again, there was 2 areas in the market, and I said, well, if this area aligns nicely with the DXY, and I get that reaction on the DXY, potentially, if the DXY is looking to move sooner rather than later, at least I'll be in that position. It's one of those. If we take a look at the DXY, or even let's go to, what was it, AU again. Let's have a look at the time. So around about 1:30. UTC +1, and back to the DXY, 1:30 UTC +1. You can absolutely see why I was enticed. So I'm looking at the DXY on the lower time frame. So I'm on the DXY at this stage as price started to come down into this 15-minute order block, looking to reject previous daily lows. I'm actually on the 1-minute time frame. I'm looking for those intricate breaks of structure. Now, once I've seen that candle close at 1:30, then for me it was right. If this retests perfectly on the DXY to those lows on that 1 minute, I will then use that as confluence and confirmation to take a short on the cross pair. And that's all I did, to be honest. Nothing magical, nothing special, but I think it's a good loss to take, right? And actually, that's why I then continued to trade, because I thought, well, actually, AUD US dollar is a pair that I've been forecasting for weeks now. I mean, we can scroll back through this these daily chart analysis. Let's pick. So we're already into the 8th of April. Where are we? AUD US dollar. Look at that. Frgnt favorite shorts. Even way back then, 3 days ago, for a good example. I didn't realize I produced that many charts in just 3 days. But you get the picture, right? So AUD US dollar is a pair that I genuinely wanted to trade, which is, I know that might seem difficult to understand, but when you have all of these pairs, you can always find a trade. For me, AUD USD was a trade that it just shouted out more so than the US dollar CAD shorts, right? I understood that we are bullish on the DXY. So technically, I have no right to be taking shorts against the DXY. It's just but for the Asia range position that relies not upon higher time frame analysis that allow me to take that position. Anyway, nevertheless, I've spoken about that to death. So there is one loss there on AUD US dollar, and my least favorable US dollar CAD 2.5% banked, or 2.7, whatever you want to call it, minus spreads and all of that good stuff. Now, to the joys of the day. So I continued trading, would you believe it, into the afternoon. I'm not sure what way round this was. So probably after the, what was it? After US dollar CAD, I then took the EU short, which thankfully I closed out before the news. Thankfully, I closed that out before the news, because at that point, I'm pretty sure my psychology would be going bananas after, being 2.7% up for the day. I've then taken in my opinion, a good loss. That's now 1.7% up for the day. And then if I'd have taken a full loss on EU, 0.7% up for the day, you can see exactly how this could go psychology-wise, right? I'm human just like you guys. I feel those emotions just like you guys. It's just I've got a few things in place that allow me to mitigate having that feeling, right? Unfortunately for me, those things that are in place seem not to apply on a Friday. I have no idea why. Friday has been my most successful trading day for many years, and I'll have to really look into potentially controlling the amount of trades that I take on a Friday. But because of those higher time frame 50 EMAs, I just really enjoy trading on the Friday, because I'm expecting that rejection from those higher time frames. And for example, if a pair pushes Monday, Tuesday through Thursday in one direction, I am at some stage expecting price to want to pull back on that Friday to some extent. So that's just a sneak peek into my Friday. Nevertheless, break even June, not break even. In fact, I closed that out. Sorry, it was not break even. I closed that out in whatever profits, maybe 0.4%, whatever it could be. But nevertheless, thank goodness for that. Moving on now. If you want to know why I took that trade, then simply head over to the analysis from this morning, what we got 8 hours ago. It's all there. In fact, you guys wouldn't have seen that. That's a private analysis sent out to a group that I shall not mention here on TradingView. I'll get in trouble. Anyway, continuing on through the overtrading day. I'm currently in GU shorts, and I promise that is the last position of the day. Again, a position that I forecasted many days ahead. So a position that, to be honest, I couldn't care less to the end result. Of course, every trader wants to make money. But when you take trades that just align with your method or thought process, analysis, you forecasted it, and you're just literally waiting at this stage for price to come up to your areas. Now, the good news is, I wonder if this is, exactly at 1:30 as well. Thankfully, I more often than not will only have one position running. Not quite true. I will have many positions potentially running at once. However, those positions will be at break even if I get that out correctly. Because in hindsight, what I see, if I didn't have that rule in place, it's more than likely that I could have been enticed into a short here. But thankfully, looking at price action and understanding that I require a form of confirmation before entry, thankfully, this 15-minute order block was absolutely smashed through and price closed above, meaning that all I need to do as a result of that is see you later. Therefore, at that point, I wasn't concentrating on GU at this point anyway. I was more so looking to short AU, as I've mentioned earlier. Now, price then came up to the area that I was forecasting. What are we? We are, where are we? Within, this morning I certainly thought we were within that higher time frame order block. Yeah, we are just about. Yeah, yesterday's candle did not close above it, therefore I'm happy to reuse it, or at least use it as my confluence. Of course, the weekly 50 MA is I know it looks awful at the moment to think that's why you're looking to short, but to be honest, based on the most recent 4 weeks of price action, expecting the wick to the high for then that candle then to flip bearish, that's my thought process in at least that higher time frame confidence of taking this position. Then once this this daily order block is refined, I know the daily 50 MA is against my position. In fact, all 50 MAs are against my position apart from the weekly, which in fact, in my opinion, takes precedence, particularly on a Friday. So therefore, I was quite happy to take this trade, as I'm sure you can hear from my explanation. It's just a trade that I wanted to take. Nevertheless, 4-hour order block as a result of this bearish 4-hour engulfing candle. So there are certain confluences to that trade, and it's as simple as just wait for it to materialize. It's unfortunate that I was enticed into the short on AU, but it is what it is. A reminder that I am just a normal dude trading. And then we've got that 15-minute order block perfectly placed. I always say, if you're looking to short, just attempt to short from as high as possible. You can't really go wrong if you're going to refine your area down and short from as high as possible, or in the flip, take a long from as low as possible, because I can do no better at this stage. If I am wrong here, I am simply incorrect. My whole thought process is incorrect. Price then makes a higher high. Everything's just upside down at that stage, right? So here, very happy to take short positions, as you see I've done. Went down to the lower time frame just to give you a bit of an insight on how beautiful it looked. There you go. You can see those multiple breaks of intricate structure points. 1 minute order blocks left behind. In fact, these are 5-minute order blocks left behind. We had the 1 minute break of structure, so technically up at these highs, as you can see, that's where I was looking for the short from. And then as a result then of that bearish engulfing candle, just waited to see if price would want to push back up to fill that imbalance, and it was an instant execution. Again, that comes with confidence in your trading plan and ability, and also what you are trading. As I've said, if you can't speak about your trade with this level of, not certainty, because I have no expectation to these trades, but understanding where you are in the market, understand that this is my strategy, and it is very much so what I call a great trade. Look at these multiple breaks of structure here on the 15-minute. Price had all at this stage, and what's beautiful is at this stage, price had already done. That's it. It's done. The setup is complete. At that stage, order block selection, all I do is wait. Alerts are set, or they're removed now, but this alert's just pretty much to potentially take some money out of the market, to be fair. But yeah, as you can see, price developed, broke structures, which meant that's already good enough for me. We're in that 4-hour block, refined from the daily. Happy to take that position. It looks good on paper. Just waiting for that entry criteria, those intricate 1 minute breaks of structure when I'm happy to take a trade from an area. If not, then I'll be looking for further degree of confluence, or rather confirmations from that area. But as you can see, that's all she wrote, to be quite honest. Now, that's the trades of the day, all based off the DXY. I can't stress it enough. If you're able to read that DXY as any other pair and understand what the DXY could potentially do, it's just confluence for you. It's for free. It's okay. It's an index. You might not necessarily feel comfortable trading it, but as someone who has previously used their strategy trading it, I know that if I mark this up with the same degree of discipline that I do across all my other pairs, I can't really go any wrong, right? I mean, of course, as a result of this this area here actually holding for, let's say, 15 minutes, yeah, I lost some money, but it is what it is. This area here down at the bottom, or down at the lows rather, again, if I just held myself a little bit more accountable to what I preach, in fact, take the short from as low as possible, Charles, then of course, then this position here would have been the one for the day, and potentially would have avoided that break even, certainly on EU, and the loss there on excuse me, on AU as well. So I'll just wrap that up, to be honest. More than likely going to provide an update for the day once all trades have been closed, but to be fair, that's it for the day. It's been quite a good week. To be quite honest, there's been some good opportunities in the market. As you go through my analysis, you'll see the updates through the pairs. Took a nice trade on GCAD as well. Yeah, it was just a really nice week, to be honest. Despite everything that's going on fundamentally, the technicals are actually seemingly aligning quite well, particularly when you marry it up with the DXY. Trust me on it, it just works. So as you can see, my countdown is counting me down and out now. So I guess I'll sign out of this video. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Those in particular in the private groups, a big thank you to you all as well. I can't mention the group because I'll get in trouble. But to everyone else as well, all the very best in your trading journey. I hope you had a nice, successful day. Frgnt Fun Coupon Friday. Take care. You'll hear from me shortly. All the very best. Charles.